Hey everybody, Larry Higgins with K Wigglers here. We're out here on Laguna Madre with Captain Chris Elliott. Y'all seen him. We fished with him several times along with James Sanchez. Anyway, Captain Chris here had an idea to do a little sight casting trip, and this was something different, and Chris was on a roll today.
Figured we'd change it up a little bit. Seems, you know, if y'all watch the other videos that come out, we're basically exclusively wade fishing, which probably 75% of the time that's what I do as well. But my roots are chasing redfish, shallow water, sight fishing. I still love to do it. We had a perfect weather window for it, light wind, sunny skies, middle of the summer. Figured perfect chance to come down here and take advantage of it. Couple days after a full moon, so it took a little while to get the fish moving around. We found some this morning. Actually found some schools that we threw lures into and they completely ignored us. Ran around a little bit, actually finally found some fish that were willing to eat and basically put the hammer down on them.
It was like an oncoming invasion of redfish. Every so often you have a pod or a little school of them coming. Everything, you know, catch them, you spook them, whatever, and then you get ready, here comes the next one.
Reel one in, you'd let one go. You'll see footage of it. You let one go, and while you're letting it go, you're looking around and there's more coming. As soon as you stood back up, you were going to cast at another one. Pretty cool seeing stuff like that.
Well, Captain Chris had the game plan today. He looking at the forecast, he said, look, it's going to be conditions. If this holds, it's going to be perfect. The one thing, as he mentioned, we were kind of battling the backside of the full moon was what, two nights ago?
2 nights ago.
So, like he said, they were a little skittish initially. You could put a lure right in front of them and they just ignored it.
They just weren't interested.
That right, and Captain Chris called. He said maybe this afternoon, which that's kind of common after after a full moon like that. Maybe it'll be later in the day. And it was a night and day difference on how those fish were acting.
Yeah, the fish we found this morning, we found fish in super shallow water this morning, and like I said, they didn't want anything to do with it. And then the fish we ended up really catching and having a good time with were pushing into some extremely shallow water. Ended up pretty much pushing this Smyak M2 to its breaking point. If you're curious how shallow it'll go, you just need a little bit of water. It'll float. Those fish seem to be like they're pushing in from the deeper water, and they came in waves. Not just one fish here, one fish there, pods of them and schools of them just pouring in from that deeper water, coming in for their little afternoon lunch is what it looked like.
So on sight casting like this, you talked about this morning, like we weren't in a big rush to come out because you need enough day, you need enough sunlight, you need it overhead to be able to see properly.
Yeah, you're not gonna if you're exclusively wanting to actually sight fish and put a lure in front of them, first light isn't gonna do you much good. You want that sun to get up. You want a day that you're gonna have sun. Yeah. You don't want to be drifting along looking for redfish and a cloud comes over you every 5 minutes. So like this morning, we left, weren't in a big rush. Drove around, no big hurry. Once that sun gets up, while we were waiting on it, threw some top waters, played around, caught a couple trout. once that sun gets up and you can see and it's right above you, that's when you have your vantage point. That's when you're gonna be able to see the farthest. You're gonna be able to see the color of those fish. It's gonna make it a lot easier.
Yeah, they pop a lot better when that sun's more overhead versus on the horizon.
Especially when they're lit up and they're dark red, they stick out on that grass.
And then what's your go-to bait for sight cat? Is it that you? I know he caught them all on a paddle tail today.
For me, 4-inch paddle tails. I mean, it's tried and true. And an 1/8 ounce jig head, it gives you enough weight. You're not real worried about putting a 16th on. You're not working the lure. You're throwing it out there, putting it in front of them. If you throw it too far, you're gonna get it to that fish as quick as possible. So the weight of the jig head, you're not really worried about it. You want the weight to be able to get that distance. You might have to cast sideways with the wind. They might come around. You're casting into the wind. You want that weight on it, and that's why I put this on that little 2/0 1/8 ounce jig head. Gives you the weight. These things will fly really good in the wind. And what I like is when you let them fall, they're going to fall straight. So you could drop them right in front of their face.
So you're putting a clinic on out there, just, and that's the other thing is like if you miss it or if they don't hit it and you can still see them, and you kind of know where they are. I just kind of stopped a couple of times just to watch Captain Chris in action. It was just pop, and then it might be that 3rd or 4th cast they nail it.
You might not. I mean, sometimes it might be just a little too far from their face, or you make that perfect cast, and while you're trying to line it up, that fish spins around and looks the other direction. Burn that lure back in, get it back in, stare at that fish the whole time. Don't take your eyes off of it. Make another cast. I mean, with light winds and you're not moving real fast, you might get 3 or 4 shots at that fish. When it gets windy, you might get 1 shot, and you better be really accurate with that shot. But
I love wade fishing as much as anybody, and I don't spend a lot of time. Matter of fact, I had to put sunscreen on the top of my feet to keep them from getting burned. They're not used to it. But if you're looking for something different, and especially down here on the lower coast, sight casting that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When the conditions line up like that. If any of y'all have any questions about anything like that, you can contact Captain Chris. Hell, book him. He's he's running charters steadily down here. But if nothing else, just reach out to him on social media, and I'm sure he'd be happy to help you out.
Oh yeah, of course. Any questions? Let me know.